Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Ben and Alonso with you. Season 5, Episode 6, Parabiosis.
Yes. Also known as the Saul Hour.
Yeah, definitely known as the hour that reminds us once again, Saul, smarter than them all.
Yes.
I mean, just his little trick to get into the computer and get that stuff printed. I'm not sure I totally bought that, but good. But you know, he's so much, and I just love how we get little glimpses of how his mind works, because Carrie in the previous episode makes that plea to him that he refuses, that really sends her.
No, it's in this episode.
Oh, it's in this episode that he refuses her. Right. They meet up at the end of this one, and then they, in this, you know, and it devastates her.
Yeah.
Right. And then he's talking to Dar, and he's in that great scene with Dar, and he's like, you know, the Israelis, why are you meeting with him? He's like, to ask him. I mean, this is literally what we're supposed to do. This is gathering intelligence, you moron. And he's like, besides, it wasn't the Israelis. Who was it? He goes, the Russians. Like, and in that instant, it's like Saul.
Of course Carrie knows what she's talking about.
Right. He was like, oh, you know what? She's right. Yeah. So he just, but whatever his process was, he'd figured it out.
But at the same time, you have to give him credit that, you know, if Carrie comes to you and starts spouting something that sounds insanely paranoid, you know, which Carrie are we dealing with here?
Right.
You know,
he doesn't go back home and watch the fourth quarter of the Suns Warriors. You know, I mean, he goes back home and he thinks, he puts this together. He's like, oh, I got the new Connolly. You know, I'm going to read it. You know, like what we don't see with Saul is
he is not playing Candy Crush.
Saul isn't working, right? So I like that. There was one scene that I don't, what seemed like CSI spy was Quinn randomly being found by a guy connected to jihadists. Right?
Yeah, that was random. But what was interesting about it was that his instinct, rather than being to, like, you know, send a carrier pigeon out the window, was to basically tell them, you're all going to get arrested again if you do this, unless that was your plan already. Like, he's actually giving them practical advice about maybe don't do jihad right this second.
Right, and they obviously, I guess, and then they recognized that the one guy who got out of prison was like, that's not the way they wanted to go. But I found it difficult enough to believe that Quinn's salvation, that his resurrection essentially was going to come from a Muslim. That was weird enough, given, but that seemed, I don't know, that didn't feel right to me.
It reminded me of, what was the Mark Wahlberg, Lone Survivor, you know, where it all kind of comes down to the whole hospitality thing in the Quran, and that's why you get taken in and taken care of.
Right, so it would be okay enough, like I could have swallowed but does it have to be? So like
the one safe house, yes.
Right, so we find out, like I mean, they do a good thing, and you're like a reminder. Oh, look at this kind Muslim man walking along the port,
the waterfront,
waterfront, and he's like, no, I can't let you die, and I'm gonna, not only this, I'm gonna transfuse you with my blood, I'm gonna nurse you back to hell. Oh, I'm also part of a terrorist cell. You know,
but never mind that right now.
Right, exactly.
That's a lot to think. Well, also the idea that these 12. Like imprisoned jihadists could be freed because of the security leak or the announcement about the CIA and Germany working together. It's like, how many of those revelations have there been in real life, and yet no one got let out of
Gitmo,
Gitmo,
but they don't have, well, because we wouldn't let them out because we hadn't tried them in a real court.
Right.
Theoretically, these guys were actually convicted based on this evidence, and now
it's been rendered inadmissible.
Right, it's a fruit of the poison tree, so they're all gone. I don't know that they'd all be released the same day.
Time. Yeah.
I mean, they're not obligated to let them out in that fashion, I don't suspect, but nonetheless, that's what
they might have black ops some of them to Stuttgart and let them out there.
That's right. There's like, wait a week, you're out in 2 weeks. Yeah, we probably have some operative license there. But anyway, so they all got out, and that storyline probably seems to have just gone away then. I mean, with that guy's death.
Maybe. You know, who knows what this show has up its sleeves.
I did think he was going to die. I did think Quinn was going to die. I thought we were going to lose Quinn.
It looked, it was kind of touch and go there for a minute. And then, Ginger Lawyer, I think kind of, they almost sort of bring him in to be the one person who's not in this world to kind of go, you people are nuts.
Yeah, right.
How do you live like this? You know, because everybody else within the bubble that is Homeland, you know, they're all spies or intel or whatever, and to them it's totally normal.
Making these equivocations like this is just the way you go through life. So there was a nice line that he said, do you not get Quinn was going to die to protect you. Right. And then she had that nice line, later when talking to During, who I'm still waiting for the evil shoe to drop, but maybe he isn't. Maybe he's all right. But he says, but she says to him, I did not do right by him, and I wasn't like he was prepared to die for her, and she couldn't even get back to check on him.
Right.
So I mean, there was no.
And During, was definitely a stand-up guy when they come to grab Saul. He's like, CIA, everybody, let's, what the hell?
Yeah. And Saul, and then so if he's a real stand-up guy, though, he didn't make a copy of that.
Right, yeah, that we got to find out next week.
And that's a great conversation because then, I mean, there are some people who would argue, no, that's incredibly valuable information that the public needs to know. Mm-hmm. But he made a personal deal. Saul said, I'm going to give this to you, but this is to protect our friend.
Right.
This is to help our friend.
Not for your blogger.
It's not for your blogger. It's not for your website. It's not for anything. In this case, you got to stand up. And we'll see if you made a copy.
Yeah, that's our cliffhanger, I think.
And there was a nice moment there at the end with Carrie because she's, in that moment of, he didn't. Saul.
Yeah, like he believes in me.
My dad didn't abandon me.
Yeah.
So that was nice. That was nice. And she's just what? She's just a Soviet spy, a Russian spy?
I guess.
There's nothing more complicated than that?
I mean,
they have something on her, or she's a double agent?
It's hard to say. I mean, because obviously she has that scene with her contact where she's clearly upset about it. She's not ruthless. The whole could we sit here for a while? She was upset about seeing the dead Carrie photo. Mm-hmm. So there's more to it, I think, than just basically.
But they're involved, right? Because she took his hand. There was that moment was tender between
true.
them.
Yeah. But she's not Natasha,
right?
Fatal.
But she. So that was interesting, I thought. But I'm curious what her possible motivation is.
Yeah, we're winding down. We only got 4 to go. So
no, I think the showtime is 12.
Oh, okay, all right. So then we're in the midway point.
We're right at the midway. We're right at the midway point.
Carrie almost getting on the plane. That's a good middle.
That's right.
Now it all shifts.
Right. That's right.
So we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll be back next week with more Homeland. Thanks for watching.